independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
So we're very concerned. We're very concerned in two respects. Number one, that the probes continue as they should without interference, that the public learn the information and Congress learn the information, because we may have to take action or not. We're not going to rely on those criminal investigations, because our responsibility is to do general oversight and get our own information and our own testimony.
And so it begins. What everybody knew was coming is coming fast and furious. And Trump is going to spend the next 2 years watching investigation after investigation into every aspect of his life, from his childhood all the way through to today. And here's the thing. You take a genie and you let it out of the bottle. What's the genie want to do? Does the genie want to go back in the bottle? The genie's not going to go back in the bottle, right? Right? That's the fear factor in all of this, right? You're Jerry Nadler there. Oh, we don't even care about the Mueller. We don't even care about the Mueller investigation. We don't care about that. And this is where political revenge comes. At some point in time, and look, the Democrats are looking over going, well, you guys investigated Benghazi for how long? You're still screaming about all of this other stuff. Both sides stand up there and say, well, what about this? What about that? What you're going to find is something, if you look hard enough, right? You had some dealings somewhere. And now it is the way where you can use certain agencies, certain things inside of government to do all you possibly can to come as hard as you possibly can for retribution, for revenge. And I don't know about you, that doesn't sound very thrilling to me. It also doesn't sound like something that looks like anything else is getting done when you're spending all of your times in committees searching and looking. It's just, this is what we've become. And this is what politics has become in a lot of ways, is, hey, I got a great idea. Got a great idea. What's your great idea? Let's just look at everything and every human being ever associated with this person right here, because we don't like them. We don't like her. We don't like him. You're going to have to start growing politicians in a laboratory with no past whatsoever. It will have to be some sort of Manchurian candidate in some weird shape. That's the way it is. Do I think Trump's done stuff wrong in the past? Probably. Does it rise to the level of let's spend our entire waking moment searching and hunting? No, I don't. Is this Russia collusion they're looking for? No, it's not.
H.R. 1 would steer potentially billions of dollars to political allies in the name of campaign finance empowerment, restrict Americans' right to free speech, and exact political retribution on the President of the United States. Unfortunately, this isn't all that surprising. This is just the latest in a series of attacks by the Democrats to stifle the free exchange of ideas.
Yesterday, they tried to, they're going to get H.R. 1 through, which is no relation to H.R. Puffin stuff, and it'll go down to the Senate, and they'll never look at it, and it'll go from there. And that's supposed to be an anti-corruption thing where they can look and see, and there's some, and on the surface, it sounds like, hey, that's good. Anti-corruption as far as the money in politics, we're going to look at all these things. Or is the president, did he court? Were people courting him for favors and power? Yeah, of course. Yeah, come on. Let's be real. You give a ton of money to a campaign. You're not doing that because you're doing that because you want to have at least a moment or two with the president where you could talk about something that's on your mind that may benefit you and your business, your industry. Of course. Come on. Absolutely. It's not about a picture opportunity. And that goes for all politics. And on the surface, it all sounds good because I'd love to see a ton of money get out of politics, but that's not going anywhere. You know that and I know that. But every step from here on out is going to be about what? Political retribution, revenge, coming hard, still trying to play that night over and over again in November when she didn't win? And how can we do this? And I will tell you this, chances are, if it was the other way around right now, that's all they would be doing is looking for those damn emails and everything. What's in there? Are there things inside those emails that will probably go, probably. You don't wipe that many emails of that. Probably it wasn't all Groupons, right? But this is what we're going to become now. This is it. We're going to go from there to...
I think overwhelmingly the public wants to see the president's tax returns. They want to know the truth. They want to know the facts. And he has nothing to hide.
People on the left want to see his tax returns. People on the right are like, I don't even care. I don't want to see Hillary's tax returns. I don't want to see... I don't care. Right? By and large, a lot of people, well, Russia must have given him hundreds of millions of dollars. That's what this is all about. They're going to do everything they can. And this is where we're headed in politics. This right here is where we're headed for the next 2 years. But I think, much like with the nuclear option, once you do this, right, once this happened, that genie comes out of that bottle, it's not going back in there. That means that this will be an option over and over again for investigation after investigation after investigation after investigation after investigation. And I think for a lot of people out there, it's going to be frustrating. And remember, at some point in time, though, there is that possibility that while you think you're doing everything you can, the look may bite you in the ass.
How much oversight is too much to the point of harassment, in your opinion?
I don't know the answer to that question, except the president sounded awfully like Richard Nixon saying 1 year of Watergate investigation is enough. The fact is, you have to do the oversight and follow the facts where they lead. Foreign interference in the election, foreign influence over this administration, garden variety corruption, interference with justice, obstruction of justice, abuse of power. We have to track all of that down.
Yeah. How much is too much? Because I think a lot of people are asking the question because eventually everybody starts going, you know what? You guys are sore losers and it's going to look ugly. And that might come back and bite you in the butt. And if you're working on your 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 15th investigation, you've still not found anything, at what point do you start to look like you're just doing all you can to get him at any cost?
Where is the line between appropriate oversight and presidential harassment?
What the president sees as presidential harassment is really the end of presidential immunity, because for 2 years he had Republicans who wouldn't hold him accountable. But we want to make sure the president of the United States is not financially compromised, and there's deep evidence to suggest that he governs by transactional value, meaning that he's drawn us so close to the Saudis and the Russians because he has benefited financially from them in the past. And there's good reason to look at investments that they've made in him, investments he's made in them, and to see if we need to interdict to protect America's national security.
Well, we'll find out. We will absolutely find out. But how far does it go? How far does it go? And when does it come to the point where the sore loser, you're going to start wearing that everywhere, and people are going to be turned off by this? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. It's funny, as all of this talk swirls around and all of this stuff happens with Trump and the investigations, and of course he has the State of the Union and all of this stuff. The fact is we're not too far away from the first start of them having the debates and the primary, getting ready to run in 2020, and oh my goodness, and Biden still sits there atop.
Somewhat likely to support for president in 2020. This is not a horse race. We're not asking voters this candidate versus that candidate. It's who do you like? Who could you see yourself supporting? Who are you likely to support? Well, Joe Biden comes out on top, ahead of President Trump. Thinking about running for president? You're going to think that's pretty good, right? Bernie Sanders does pretty well here. Kamala Harris, she can say she's moving up, her rollout, all the national attention. Just talked about Elizabeth Warren, this poll taken obviously before the latest controversy, but she also rises up pretty high. This is who are people thinking about? Don't take this as who are they going to vote for.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I think we can now say that it's definitely over for Elizabeth Warren, right? It's absolutely over for Elizabeth Warren. But when you look at this, you hear a lot of people, especially in the media, who push the narrative, the AOCs, who push the interesting. And part of that is because they love what they get from Trump, right? They love what they get from Trump. Biden, Pence, there's no chaos that goes with them. There's no real controversy that goes with them. You'd almost have to come. I mean, they're paint dry, right? Uncle Joe he's interesting at times. He's funny, but he isn't Trump. Trump keeps eyeballs on the television. Trump makes what used to be one person asking a few people's opinions, a 12-person, panel on CNN. Do they really want to go back to that? Hey, what do you think about Biden's speech today? Or what did you think about President Pence? It's not quite the same thing, is it?
Yeah, he's a Democrat, but he's a centrist leftist. Yes, left, but enough to the center to appeal to people who just aren't on the far left fringe of the Democratic Party. The problem is, how does he get the nomination? Democratic Party is moving sharply to the left. Young people, bless them. Women, bless them. And people of color, bless them. He's got to convince them that he's the right person to take on Donald Trump. If he can get the nomination, I think he can beat Trump, sure.
But he's also got to convince the media. Because interesting is going to get a lot more airtime. And Trump showed you what interesting can do for you airtime-wise. Biden? And I think there's a lot of people I talk to. I was telling producer Anthony, I spoke to one of my friends yesterday who's to the left for sure, and he's kind of a Biden fan. And he's a classic liberal. He's not a, super uber progressive, doesn't buy into a lot of this stuff. And he goes, my big fear is we're going to start to have these wild swings now where we go from Trump to somebody uber progressive, and then we're going to go back to somebody uber conservative, and it's going to, and maybe somebody like Biden offers that centrist to the left, or somebody like a Kasich offers a little centrist to the right, where you get some grounding again. But I said, but he's not interesting. They're not interesting. And the media is going to focus on interesting over a lot of stuff. And you've got to be aware of that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Blink is amazing for home security. First of all, no subscriptions, no contracts, totally affordable. It works with Alexa. They've got the Blink smartphone app, which I absolutely love because I go on there and I check out the live feed option. I can see what Winston's up to. Middle of the day, he's just wandering around inside the living room. I always wonder what's going on with my animals in there. But it's great to know that your house is protected with their motion activated cameras. Easy to set up, no wires, a couple AA batteries. Those things will keep those cameras up and running for up to 2 years. It is amazing. And you can get replays, things that may just happen, something outside. What is it? Is it something outside? Oh, it's just an animal that passed by, or is there somebody looking at your house? Blink will give you that peace of mind to protect the things that matter, your family, yourself, your home, your goodies that you work so hard for. Get Blink today. Again, totally affordable, works with Alexa, no subscriptions, no contracts. Get ready for this. Blink camera systems, incredible gifts. You can also monitor your packages. So cheap. Visit blinkprotect.com/Benson. That's blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blink is an Amazon company. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Oh, man. People are texting in. Chad, they should be looking at Trump. Yeah, I got no problem with it. It's when things get weaponized. Think about how angry everybody was when the IRS did what they did, right? Think about that. Just for a second. Think about how angry people were. I was pissed because I thought, well, this isn't right. So I have no problem with that. I got zero problem with some form of checking things out. But it's when you're doing it in a way where it's all about getting somebody and it's not about anything other than trying to destroy. I think that's where you start to cross these kind of lines and people start asking questions I think are very real. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us each and every day at this time. I don't care what the weather's like. I don't care what time of year it is. I don't care if it's dark outside or light outside. We deliver to you in full 3D Technicolor your urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
Ooh, I like this one, kids. I like this one. Rain on me. What does that mean? Pour your feelings out. It's okay. It's okay. Go on, rain it on me. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I help. Oh, Chad, that's good. So sometimes when your child is sitting there, right, your young adult, and they start to pour it out, just say, just keep raining it on me. I'm okay. I can take it. Rain on me. Your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at so much stuff to get to today. Yesterday we had Roger Stone on, and it's funny the way that people went about attacking me or not attacking me. First of all, can I say something? In the end, he is an interesting fellow, right? And just because you don't like who he is as a person, right? Just because you don't like who he is as a person doesn't mean that some of the things that he's mad about and the way that he feels like he's being destroyed aren't true, right? How many people have lied to Congress before, in particular things like, Fast and Furious, stuff like that? All types of people have lied to Congress. And did they get the same kind of treatment? I think it's a fair question to ask, right? Do I think that he is above board, honest human being? No, I think he's flawed, and I think he chose to live in a world where he plays games and is, as he called it, he's a trickster, a dirty trickster. But it doesn't mean that he isn't right in some of the things and the way that he's been treated. And I'd like to see how far this thing goes. Can he ride this thing out and take this thing to court and see it through? And what does that look like when somebody doesn't say, no, I give in? It'd be interesting. Speaking of interesting, Fortnite is interesting. We're going to talk about that. Our tech guru, Paul Limon's going to join us straight ahead. And just what is this game? How does it work? And how much money are they really making? It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It's the biggest game. Hell, it may be the biggest entertainment thing out there. We've touched on it from time and time again. My son is absolutely obsessed with it, as are my little brothers. And it is not only a threat to other games that are out there at this point in time, it's kicking the butt of things even like Netflix. Netflix doesn't look at Hulu and all of these other things as competition. They look at Fortnite as competition. Joining us now is our tech guru, Paul Limon from Wearplay. And Paul, let me ask you a question. How, I sit here, it's a free game, and people say, oh, it's free. But the reality is it's not free, and people are fine with that, and it's soaking up hours and hours of people's time, which is taking away from other entertainment.
It's taken away from everything. And you hit it on the head. It's not just a game. It's becoming an entertainment franchise. It's making $3 billion in profit. That's how much it made last year for its parent company, Epic. And there's 200 million players and growing. And they think that it's just starting its growth spurt. So go ahead, yeah. But you have basically a social network.
Yeah, that's what it is. Social network. It's a fun game to play. That's also a social network in a world where we're Instagram, we're this, that, and the other. But it's a networking thing, and it's entertainment, and that to me is fascinating because you talk about Marshmallow, and producer Phil and I were trying to wrap our heads around how does tell everybody who Marshmallow is and what Marshmallow did.
Marshmallow is this big EDM DJ. he's huge. He does covers with big rock stars, singing stars. And he did a concert, Super Bowl weekend, where he was literally playing on a virtual stage inside the game of Fortnite. And 10 million people came to watch, logged into Fortnite, and with their avatars stood around a virtual stage and watched him perform about a 10-minute set, while they had their avatars dancing and moving around and jumping and just being like as if they're at a legitimate concert. It was kind of groundbreaking because you had a very large music star prove that not only could you have a concert in virtual reality that 10 million people would want to go to, but then afterwards, immediately, they released the set on Apple iTunes, so you could download the music. So it's kind of inventing a whole new way of entertainment as a whole. Not just, do I play this one single game as a game, but do I go to this game, this world, to experience entertainment that's even past just what the game's supposed to be.
And the big question is, because it was Super Bowl Sunday, and unlike Adam Levine, no, Marshmello did not take his shirt off in this. So now, how do you... We were trying to figure this out because, again, I don't play it. Jack does. My little brothers, they live for this stuff. How do you do a concert inside of a game? Because when we think of a game, it's like, I still go back to like Asteroids, Pac-Man, even Joust and Dragon's Lair. I couldn't imagine there being a concert inside there, but this is totally a whole different world. How do you even set something up like that without having them build you something?
Well, they literally built a virtual stage. So there's a virtual stage with videos playing in the background, and Marshmello, the DJ, appeared as an avatar with his marshmallow. He wears a marshmallow as a helmet on stage as if it was a live concert, which it was. It was just a virtual live concert. And so as people logged in, they stood in front of the stage and he would tell them to dance, and which is doing these different emojis. And people would dance and they would jump. They turned off gravity so they could fly sometimes. They would like throw giant marshmallow balls at people. They turned it in a very fun, interactive way to experience a concert that honestly is a little more fun than a real concert, because you can't fly in a real concert. You can't. No. I mean, you did all this extra stuff while you were in there, and you could change your. Trust me, I can't dance, so you were dancing really well when he told you to dance.
I've seen you not dance, and it is spectacular.
You could change your look. You could do all these cool things in a virtual world that. And, the average age is honestly about 12 years old. They say 18 to 24, but when you play the game, which I do, and you listen to the voice chat of your teams, the average player is about 12. And so it really hits an amazing demographic that I think every major media source should look and say, we no longer can be a movie or a game or, a piece of music. We need to be a world. And in that world, people will come and have fun.
That's incredible. Talking to Paul Limon, our guru in the world of tech and video games. We talk about Fortnite and just the explosion of Fortnite and what this, because it is. I don't think people realize like how massive it is. Like right now, you said there's 200 million people that play the game. How many people do you think are playing the game right this second?
Oh, there's only hundreds of thousands playing right now. So there's never a time, if you want to play Fortnite, you can always just jump into a game. Remember, these games are about 100 people per game because you all get thrown onto this giant island. You have to scavenge for weapons and medicine and stuff. And it's battle royale. You have to defeat all the other teams until you're the last person standing. It's a very fun, quick game. But then aside from the fact that it's that fun, a whole world of streamers and people just watching people. So there's the people that are playing the games, and then you have people like Ninja that has 20 million subscribers because people like to watch him play the game.
It's so bizarre.
So it just
nobody wants to watch me play Pac-Man.
Exactly. Nobody wants. Well, remember, Ninja made about $10 million last year, is what he's reporting, and he almost broke the internet because he played Fortnite with Drake, the singer. And they had the largest, and since he's broken out again, the largest simultaneous viewers of anything. So cable, movies, TV, nothing like this gets the amount of viewers to watch a couple guys play a game that there's already 200 million people playing it. It just becomes this, like I said, it becomes a social network. It becomes this larger thing where kids and younger people are going in there to just have fun with each other, not even just to play the game. And you're away from, you're away from all those crazy posts from your grandma or even from Instagram. I don't have to see everybody posting how great their life is. I can only go in and hang out with my friends as a little more genuine than even, what you find on social networks now.
Oh, God, it's crazy. Talking to Paul Limon about Fortnite. He's our tech guru from Wearplay, and you're a game guy. You, of course, you Blizzard fame with all the big games like World of Warcraft, this, that, and the other. You look at this, though, and it's funny. What does this cost? So, like, if somebody wants to play this game, what does it cost to play the game?
Nothing. That's why it's easy. I haven't spent a cent because I am really bad at it. These kids are amazing. They kill me all the time. I've never gotten higher than the 4th place. These kids are amazing. But when you get into the game, you get it for free. You download it. You can start playing it. But they give you the ability to put costumes on your character, to change your character, to change what kind of look the weapons are, what kind of look these little parachutes you go into the game with are. And they can cost $20, $30 per costume. So some of these people want to collect entire costumes. Like there was Christmas themes. There's, Halloween themes. There's just crazy costumes. And they're racking up the money. So a free game is making more money by far than games that cost $50, $60 to buy them, off of Steam or the local game store. Because
is this where like everybody's going to be going now? Are they looking at this? And could this be the way that not only this, but entertainment in itself is going to be going in the future?
This is what entertainment needs to look at. What it is it's a social expression. That's why I put a crazy costume on my character. Because when I go into this world with my friends, they laugh and look, and I've bought this crazy costume that they can look at. It's an expression of my personality, and it's choice. People love to be able to say, I'm not just playing it how you want me to play it, or I'm not just doing it exactly by this paint by numbers. I have the ability to go in there and change things around and do things that I personally find fun. That's what entertainment will become in the future. Netflix is stepping into there. Netflix did a choose your own adventure type of movie called, Balderdash.
It was something like that. Is Bandalore, Balder? Yeah, something like that.
Yes, it has a very weird name. And they're saying they're spending more money in this direction because people, especially younger people, are tired of what I call spoon-fed media or headlock media. It's like you look at it this. This is what you're looking at. This is the story I'm telling you. And I think these games like Fortnite are proving you they want more access to how entertainment is shaped. They want to be able to customize it, even if just a little bit. They want to be able to customize it to themselves, even if you're setting the world that they play in. They get to make that world up a bit. And that's what I think entertainment as a whole needs to take from games like Fortnite.
That is just insane. That is absolutely insane. Paul Limon, as always, love you having you on, brother, talking about this. It's crazy, but it's interesting. And just the amount of money and they are putting a hurting. And like I said, Netflix came out and said, we're not worried about the other ones. We're worried about this because this is the media that is taking away from us. And that to me is just, it's awesome. Paul Limon, as always, brother, I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thanks. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. And he and I, we have this discussion all the time about stuff like this because we have ventures together. And it is nuts because you're getting something that isn't like, it's not like if you, like some things is like, okay, it's free, but it's going to be awful. No, it's free and you can have a lot of fun and you can do a lot of things but it's just those microtransactions and they start adding up. And next thing you know, boom, it's making hundreds and then thousands and then hundreds of thousands and then millions and then billions. And you're like, what? Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. And we saw something very similar to this. And it was, it was a Radiohead who said, hey, we're going to give away our album. And the media world freaked out about that. And the record but people ended up going and paying for some of this stuff. And it's different when you have an understanding that, there are going to be people that pay, right? And it's crazy the way some of it works. And you give people the things they want and other things, people, you tell them, oh, you can pay what you think it's worth. No, here it's they're designing things that are addictive to get you to pay for it, and they're doing it. but even the free version is incredible. That's nuts. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. And I'm telling you, you've got a kid, you got a grandkid, maybe yourself, you've got somebody's playing this game. And my son has become obsessed with it. And it's just like, again, it's not just the game. It's the social side of around the game. And it's so amazing. The dancing and all of the stuff. You're seeing world-class soccer players who are scoring goals and they're doing the dance for the Fortnite. And it is nuts. It's crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Car Shield is incredible. Paul's got Car Shield. You should get Car Shield. I've got Car Shield. Why don't you have Car Shield? You're going to get Car Shield. Why? Because it's the what-if protection. What if something happens to my engine and next thing you know, it's costing me X amount of thousands of dollars, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to get something fixed. And you're like, oh, if I had Car Shield, that wouldn't have happened. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And oh, by the way, you choose the shop. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. Everybody's happy because you knew you were taken care of. Hey, it's an illusive situation. Be smart in taking care of your car and taking care of your bank account in the future. That's what Car Shield comes in. Extended vehicle protection from Car Shield's like nothing out there. Call them today. 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson or visit carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. That's carshield.com, code Benson, or call 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. By the way, you can grab my podcast, and it's absolutely free. And there isn't even any microtransactions unless you want to figure that out. Chad Benson Show.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
I can fully understand why the president has gotten used to the idea that Congress doesn't do oversight, because for the last 2 years, the Republican majority has essentially been missing in action when it comes to being a co-equal branch of government.
Adam Schiff right there. They're coming hard for the president. They started 5 investigations, I think, in and around there, and they're going to continue to come hard. They're going to investigate everything. They want to get hold of his tax returns. They want to get hold of a lot of different things and look into finding out, how he got elected, how much money the Russians gave him, how much control that both Saudi Arabia and the Russians have over him. I think that that's what everybody is thinking is going to happen. But there's other people out there think it's a complete, this is it. It's a hunt. It's a hunt. If your only thing is you want to destroy the president at all costs and you're going to turn over every single thing that he's ever done in the history since the day he was born, you're going to find out who, what, when, how, and why he was doing something in the morning, in the afternoon, when he was in elementary school, in second grade, on a Tuesday in February. If that's what you're going to do, and you're going to turn this into it's get him at all cost, I'm not a big fan of that because I know where this is going. The next president, whoever he or she is, what side of the aisle is, that they're going to be facing this the minute the House has a chance to investigate. I'm not saying we don't look into things, right? But if it gets to the point where we're just going to do this because we can, because we don't like you, and because we don't think you should be here, there's where I think a lot of people on both sides of the aisle will have problems. And they know what's coming. And they absolutely know what's coming.
Our job involves making sure that the policy of the United States is being driven by the national interest, not by any financial entanglement, financial leverage, or other form of compromise.
Which is fine. Which is absolutely fine. But your job is also to do other things, not just spend every waking moment you can trying to find anything. You are not the super CSI going after, and this is all you're doing while everything else is falling by the wayside. And I think people are going to be looking at that because I've talked to several people on both sides of the aisle who there's concern that there is certain people inside the Democratic Party who that's all they want to do for the next 2 years. They don't care about anything else. It's this, and this. And if it becomes that point where it's ridiculous, and if you want to investigate, fine, but they've already said, we don't even care about what the Mueller report says. This is what we're going to do. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. They're back again for more screen time.
Everyone's favorite dysfunctional cartoon family has been renewed for another 2 seasons. Fox picking up The Simpsons for a season 31 and 32, which will keep it on the air through spring 2021. Launched in 1989, by the end of season 32, The Simpsons will likely be the first scripted show to ever air more than 700 episodes.
You're welcome to watch anything you want on TV.
TV sucks.
So, I think I've maybe seen 5 episodes of The Simpsons, and 2 of those were when Family Guy went there. Does that even count? I'm just not a Simpsons fan. I don't get it. I've just never been a Simpsons fan, ever. I've never been my jam. I always thought they were kind of boring. I was like, they don't really do anything for me. But people love them, right? In the Halloween episode, I think I've seen a couple of those, but I don't get it. I don't get it. I've never got it, but that's a long time. And I've never liked them once they overtook, Gunsmoke. I was like, jerks. Because Gunsmoke's my jam. It's my favorite show. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. If you don't think Gunsmoke's my favorite show, trust me, it is super my favorite show. I go home. When I'm home, I watch at least one episode because I tape them. I think they're on Inspiration Network, whatever. I tape as many as I can. Yeah, that's how I roll, kids. What do you think of those apples? Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The next few days, 2 Democrats will finally reveal what they say is a massive plan to not only create jobs in the United States, but to help start saving the planet. They call it the Green New Deal, a nod to FDR's New Deal during the Great Depression. The progressive left is lining up to back it, and they want their presidential hopefuls to fall in line. Freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez helped write the bill.
Yes, it is the Green New Deal. They're excited about the Green New Deal. They want you to be excited about the Green New Deal. And it's not just climate change. Climate, because you hear the word green, people get excited, right? It's all about climate change.
From the air we breathe, to the jobs that employ us, to the neighborhoods we live in, to the economy we operate within. Climate change defines our existence.
So it's climate change, right? Like that's, okay, it's the Green New Deal. This is where we're going with this, right? It's a Green New Deal. They're coming up. They're going to make this happen. This is what this is all about. It's going to be a little bit expensive, but we'll get to that in a second. And the thing that's even more scary than the expense is government.
As you know, Congresswoman, one reason that people who are politically conservative are skeptical of efforts to combat climate change is that it sounds to them like it requires massive government intervention, which they just don't like. Are you prepared to put on the table that, yes, actually, they're right. What this requires is massive government intervention?
It does. It does. Yeah, I have no problem saying that. Why? Because we have tried their approach for 40 years.
All right. She's got no problem. AOC has no problem. Tried it for 40 years. I like clean water. I like clean air. I think we can all agree on that. Nobody doesn't like that. And yes, did companies for years, with the help, by the way, of government, get away by doing a lot of things, right? Dumping a little here, dumping a little there, government turning the other way. They act like it was just that was one of those things. No, everybody played a part. And this is what happens when you have this crony capitalism. When you have so much money, you court power. Why? Because you want to be able to get away with stuff. And on top of that, you want to crush your enemies, if you will, your competition. So you go and you court that power. Both sides of the aisle do it all the time. So get that for a second.
The forces of the market are going to force us to innovate, except a corporation can dump pollution in the river and they don't have to pay for it, and taxpayers have to pay for cleaning up our air, cleaning up our water, and saving the planet. And so we've already been paying the costs, except we have not been getting any of the benefit. And so what we're here to say is that government is not just for cleaning up other people's mess, but it's also for building solutions in places where the private sector will not.
So it's a huge expansion in government, right? And so now, mind you, I mean, there's so much that goes into this that people aren't talking because they hear this and the craziness of it all. And I've never really understood the thought process of always wanting to give government more. This screams of central planning. Here you go. What was it? Lindsey Graham said the other day, the 2020 Democratic presidential election goes through Venezuela. It feels like the expansion of what we'd need to do to even try something like this. So let's break some of this down first, because I want to know about it. I want to find out what we're getting here, right? So it's not just green we're talking about here, but there's a portion of that. All right. So we're going to go green. She wants to go green. A lot of Democrats are getting behind it, right? They're excited about the green. We got to go through it all, though. We got to go through the green of the environment and then the green of the dollar bills, right? Because it's both of those, because it's going to cost a little bit, and you're going to be giving up a little bit of your, government's now going to become the end all to be all in everything that you do. First and foremost, let's talk about some of the other things, right? And this is just some of the other things. This isn't going to go into the cost of what it's going to cost to go green, but guarantee a job with a family sustaining wage, adequate family and medical leave, paid vacations, retirement security to all people, citizens or non-citizens of the United States. It will also provide high-quality health care, affordable, safe, and adequate housing, health and affordable food. It bans unfair domination and competition from monopolies, except the state. So are we you guys soaking that in? And this is within 10 years is what they're trying for, right? This is what they would like. Now, I think we all know that's not going to happen, but so just breathe it in for a second. Now, let's talk about the cost and some of the things that would have to happen just to make this even, just think about this. Now, they outlined something in 2015 as Stanford engineers put this together, led by a guy named Mark Jacobson. Repowering plan is what they called it. So 335,000 onshore wind turbines, 154,000 offshore, 75 million residential photovoltaic systems, 2.75 million commercial photovoltaic systems, 46,000 utility scale voltaic facilities, 3,600 concentrated solar power facilities with on-site heat storage, and an extensive array of underground thermal storage facilities. The cost just to power the electric grid alone is $7 trillion by 2030, according to them. The Information Technology and Innovation Foundation said, yeah, that's probably closer to $13 trillion. And that doesn't include all of the social stuff like free job, free health care, great wages, vacations, pension, all of that stuff. And don't forget, kids, the unicorn, right? Because everybody's getting a unicorn. And that's what they're running on. It sounds exciting. Who's paying for it? Well, we are, of course. We are. So soak that in for a second. I'm all for going greener, getting away from fossil fuels. I love the sound of that. And if we could do it in a real way. And by the way, I didn't even talk about the fact that they want to eliminate travel, air travel. They want high-speed rail everywhere. They want all it. Just soak that in for a second, right? Just soak that in. So wait a minute here. I can fly from Phoenix to Los Angeles in just under an hour, or I could take high-speed rail at 10 times the cost and 5 times the length of time to get there. Well, sign me up. Ah, goodness me. Chad, you're being really mean. No, I'm not. I'm being honest. It all sounds fantastic. And if she can pull it off, more power to her. And I'm going to get these text messages and tweets say, well, so many people support this. Everybody supports something till the bill comes due. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, man, they are coming for President Trump. They are coming in a large way. They're going to look every way, shape, or form they can to just go through everything. Because now that the House is in the hands of the Democrats, it's time for investigation.
So we're very concerned. We're very concerned in two respects. Number one, that the probes continue as they should without interference, that the public learn the information and Congress learn the information because we may have to take action or not. We're not going to rely on those criminal investigations because our responsibility is to do general oversight and get our own information and our own testimony.
Yeah. Now, remember, that's your Nadler right there. Remember, this all started with collusion, and now it's the Russians are controlling him through money, as are the Saudis, and so we owe it to the people. We're going to do everything we can to get his tax returns. Here's my take on this tax returns. Maybe years ago he borrowed some money from the Russians or the Saudis when potentially he had nothing and he went to wherever he thinks he could get it. It's possible. But my big take on any of this, he doesn't have the kind of money that he says he has. That's my big take. Oh, he's rich. Maybe closer to $500 million to $1 billion, but he ain't worth $3, $4, or $5 billion. And I think that's more of a punch in the gut than something else. That's just my take. I could be wrong. And investigation, because you really think there's something there. Okay. But if you're saying we don't even care what Mueller, then if you want to protect Mueller, but you don't care what he's doing, that says to me that you're out to get him. And that seems to be the thing that's most important, and you'll get him at all costs. And if it means he stepped on some sort of endangered butterfly 25 years ago, then he didn't even know he's endangered and he was just walking, and you think you can get him for that, you will. What does that say for the future presidents who could be facing the same situation?
This is all about weaponizing our tax laws to target a political foe.
That's what it feels like. But let's see what the investigations turn over. But if we get into the 20, 30, 40 investigations and we're 2 years in and they're overturning every single thing possible, remember what happens when that genie comes out of the bottle. It's not going back in. And when the Democrats there and the Republicans have it, guess what? It's going to be the same thing. And this is going to be tit for tat, spite. And I don't think that does us any good. And when nothing already gets done with these politicians, that's where a lot of people are frustrated. They want his tax returns. I'm telling you, I think the biggest thing is he doesn't have the kind of money and he's mortgaged to the hilt. I think that is a bigger issue for him. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your tweet here. You can tweet at us. Man, I slept great last night. It's the first time I've been home in a few days, and I'm back out on the road. I'll be home again tomorrow, but I did take my Go Anywhere pillow, and you're going to have a chance to get your Go Anywhere pillow as well. My pillow's incredible. I was skeptical. I'm skeptical no more. They are incredible. I sleep like a log. Jack loves them. Jack wants to do a commercial. Next time I see him, we might do a little something, but it is awesome. And now is your chance. No risk to you, right? You got nothing to lose right now. You know about them, how amazing they are, but you're skeptical as well. You've heard, people say, try them out for yourself. 100% machine washable and dryable cotton, made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. And right now they get a money-back guarantee until March 1st. So now is your chance to jump on this deal. Again, you got nothing to lose. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. They're also extending that money-back guarantee till March 1st. So what are you doing? Jump on it now. You're not going to find this deal anywhere else. Call 800-9 800-944-4975 or go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. 800-944-4975 or visit mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
In a blog post, Jeff Bezos claims the owner of the National Enquirer, AMI, tried to extort and blackmail him. Bezos releasing emails from AMI allegedly trying to make a deal in which AMI would not publish personal sexual photos showing Bezos it had obtained if Bezos would publicly affirm that he had no knowledge or basis to suggest that AMI's coverage of him was politically motivated or influenced by political forces. Bezos claims it's a tactic that AMI has used before.
Ooh, if that's true, that's ugly. It's ugly, ugly, ugly. What are you doing messing with Bezos? Now he's going to come for you, and you're not going to get anything delivered anymore. This is potential to get ugly. It does. And remember all of this stuff swirling around with it is. Here's the retribution and the fight and the ugliness, and this is public-private because it was private. Now it's gone public, and the potential and the ties. People tie this to Trump, the whole 9 yards. I'm telling you, it is ugly. It is. The question is, there's still that question is, how did they get those pictures? And apparently the woman he was seeing on the side, old Jeff, told her friend and showed her friend and sent her friend those. And then she's like, look at these. Oh, man. Just crazy. Crazy. Shows you what love and craziness will do. Richest man in the world. Here's a picture of my ding-dong. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. People are saying, Chad, what if Trump is found to have been, guilty of some of these things? Then he's found guilty of these things. And people find out that he's been in cahoots with Russia. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a blind follower. But just like everything, people have already made up their mind. They jump straight to the hey, here is what the jury says, and go from there. That's where they jump to. They jump straight to where the jury's reading the verdict, and in between, and they've already know what the jury's going to say, and in between, they've got the conclusion is made up. I'm not a blind follower. If he's guilty of something, and they find something, then, there's no doubt in my mind that I'm sure over the years he has rubbed elbows with people who are, how should we say this? Maybe not of the most upstanding character. I mean, you can't be a builder in New York and not have worked with some people who aren't the nicest, if you will, right? And I'm sure over time he's done businesses, dealings around the world with people that are also not very nice, and that's probably true too. So we'll see. But if it's just about getting him, and you're going to exhaust every ounce of energy you have just to get him, then that doesn't seem right either. That doesn't seem right either. And that's the way that I feel like this is going to go. And I just know what's coming next is the next person that's president is going to face the same thing over and over again. And it's just going to be one of these things where, like, nothing gets done because it's all about taking out, quote unquote, the other side. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. We're getting older in this country. The elderly are, and they're getting abused, especially financially. Fran Tarkington's going to join us. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. That's incredible, too. But he's got a new book out. We're going to talk about what's going on out there, and as people get older, what we should be looking for as far as elderly abuse goes, especially in the financial side of things. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
independent in thoughts, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
We are getting to be an older society that is working longer, working harder, and there's a lot of things that we could be looking at to do better. And one of them is looking out for the elderly because they are a target of a lot of things, particularly financial abuse. Joining us now, Hall of Fame quarterback, TV star, successful businessman, Fran Tarkington joins us to talk about this. And, you know, it's interesting. My grandmother was a target for elderly abuse financially, some of which was her own because she didn't really understand what was going on in her mind. But it is a dangerous thing. And so much of it goes underreported or not reported at all. And we need to figure out how we can stop these things from happening.
Well, Chad, thank you. And you're exactly right. I am a senior. I'm 79 years old as of last Sunday. I've got my fastball and I'm out there. And about 2 years ago, I started hearing more and more about financial abuse of seniors. Now, I heard about, you know, your credit scores. They're compromised. Your bank accounts, they're compromised with Wells Fargo, and you got the robo people that call the seniors and so forth and try to scare them to death. And the reason they do this is because people that are in the business of trying to do bad things or want to do them with people who have money. Seniors have more money than anybody else. But those people are certainly a problem. But the worst problem are relatives, caregivers, who isolate the senior. And they think they're entitled to the money. And the book is about that. And it shows 10 ways to be able to recognize it and stop it. And with that, what I've found, I've had calls. I bet I've had 10 calls this morning from people, top-ranked lawyers who've run cases in New York City and Washington, D.C. says, you're really on it. This is a problem. This is epidemic. And we've got some technology. We've got some this. It's the identity theft, if you will, that's just as big as identity theft for seniors, and it's a target in there. And the first thing that family members, you better, it's happening to you today. And you've got to be able to recognize it. And so that's why the book's there. And we're going to follow the book because this is not a novel. It takes you an hour and 15 minutes to read, but it gives you a framework of what you can do now to stop this abuse. And then we're going to follow that on with partners that have come out of the woodwork that have some pretty interesting solutions that can help us further this along.
Talking to Fran Tarkington, the book's called Safe and Secure, 10 Essential Steps for Seniors to Protect Against Financial Abuse. And you talk about relatives, and that's a touchy thing because, as you all know, and I'm sure everybody listening, at some point in time, somebody passes away. There's a lot of stuff. People start fighting over things. But even before that, people start jockeying for position. And you should always have somebody who's an advocate. If you're in the hospital, you should always have a patient advocate, somebody who advocates on your behalf for things. But it's tough to know who's really doing it for the right reasons because a lot of times they're looking at the nest egg and not the person involved.
Well, that's why most of the people want to isolate the senior and get in control of their stuff. You got to, as a family member, you've got to fight that. You cannot let isolation happen, and you got to put a little virtual wall around that senior. And it's of a financial person who's a friend of the family, a lawyer, friend of the family, a relative that's balanced. And these people can be checks and balances to each other, so that you don't have one person isolating the senior. And we talk about that in the book, how to do that. And it's doable. But the first thing in what this book is doing is recognizing that it's not happening to the person across the street or across the world. It's happening to every one of you listening to me today. Everyone. Yeah. It's happening to my life. So now we've got to get an awareness. We come up with things you could do to stop that or slow it down right now. And now we're now working with a lot of institutions to be able to get a better wall for our seniors and for family members who really want to help in this situation. And so it's really, because identity theft has been on the minds of people. We got a lot of people doing some really good things to identify it and solve it. Well, we're on that track now for seniors. And
absolutely.
And before Well, here I am, 70. I've never really focused on the financial abuse of seniors. And yet I have experienced it over the last 20 to 30 years of my life.
Yeah, and a lot of times seniors don't know. It's not just like you said, it's not just the person calling up saying, hey, your grandchild's in jail, we need money, trying to take advantage of. It is people that are close because they know what you have potentially. And those are the ones, just like in an abusive relationship where they slowly but surely get you isolated away from everybody else, make you the focus of their world as their protector, all the while they're siphoning everything they can from that individual, which is so scary.
Or they see the person has money, and so they say, well, my sister and brother, they're getting more of this money, and I'm a sister, and I want to get access to this money. And the stories they tell, and you can't believe them. You know how I know that? It's happened to me in the last year. It happened to me in the last year, and it happens with children who are married and have kids, and they want to grab what you've got away from the other children, and they will lie and sneak and to try to get that money away from you.
You know what? We're talking to Fran Tarkington. We're talking about the new book out there, Safe and Secure, 10 Essential Steps for Seniors to Protect Against Financial Abuse. And it's not always even, sometimes the financial abuse is even seniors against themselves who are making decisions because they're maybe not with it and understanding. They're not completely lost, if you will, but they also need to be protected from themselves, simplify stuff so they don't get themselves in trouble, even if there isn't anybody out doing anything nefarious to them.
That wall needs to be put into effect before they get demented, before they get, it should start at a younger age and then, and be able to address it. But once, if they're in that situation of dementia, Alzheimer's, and so forth, that's another challenge. But somebody in that family has got to go and say, we've got to do the right thing for all the family members and for the senior and for our mother and for our father and for our grandmother and grandfather, and find some of the good people to go and do. And we show you what you can do. And if you follow these steps and execute, they're not hard, it will stop this abuse.
Absolutely. Talking to Fran Tarkington, Hall of Famer. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you what you think of the Super Bowl this past weekend. For a lot of people, it was a dud, but, as a person who played the game for so long, a Hall of Famer yourself, you look at that and you think to yourself, man, was that just a great defense rather than poor offense?
No, it was a boring game. I sat in the box of Roger Goodell, and I sat next to Billy Payne, who's the guy who brought the Olympics to Atlanta, Georgia, which was unbelievable. And he was president of the Augusta National, and he was a football player at Georgia. And after the first quarter, after the second quarter, he looked at me and said, "This is the most boring game I've ever seen." It was a boring game, and they didn't have as good a television coverage as they thought they'd have. 120 million, 100 million watched, but the NFL's not going to go broke because of the game. It was the lowest scoring game in the history of the Super Bowl, 53 Super Bowls. And this is a time when we've done everything we can to make it hard for the defense. And during the course of the season, we scored more points than I think in any year we've ever had. We had a game that was a 53-50 game. That's unheard of.
It was a college game, it felt like.
One touchdown in the game.
Yeah, crazy.
It was crazy.
When you watch
and so I don't know. It's just the last 5 weeks of the season, even with all the rules, you cannot hit the quarterback. You head-to-head. You can't put your hands on the receiver after 5. All this stuff they brought in to get more scoring and more action, which is fun. That's what we want. And we reverted, and it's shocking to me that it was the lowest scoring game in 53 games. That's crazy.
That's correct. What do you see the rules today nowadays, and obviously they're putting it in for Fran for the fact is that they've got a lot of issues here with a lot of their when you've got famous Hall of Fame players like Junior Seau and many others who are committing suicide because of this. When you look at the game today and you look back at when you played, obviously you're 79, you're going strong, but I'm sure you've got players you've played with where you think to yourself, what has happened?
No, the players that played in my generation and after my generation, they're also financial victims because most people finish even this generation, and they lose their money first 5 years they're out of football with no income coming in and so forth. Now, I am for more safety measures, right? And I think the targeting thing is spot on. We need to do that. But the things they've done to make the game more wide open is you cannot hit a receiver after 5 yards, and that's a big change for the game. It's good that we don't let people go and hit the quarterback hard or late or at the time he's throwing it. That's all good, and I look at that. But I think that we've got to be a little more diligent in also the use of performance-enhancing drugs to make these players bigger than life. I mean, it's amazing the size of these players and the speed, and that by itself causes more collisions, and yet we're not addressing that situation at all. And so there's a lot of improvement we can do. It's a great game. People want scoring. I think we should make that, understand that, and not and give the offense a little more leeway than the defense because people want scoring. But boy, we reverted back to 3 yards in a cloud of dust on this Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes, we did. And talking to Fran Tarkington, last question. Appreciate you coming on. People are asking me, I said, hey, I'm having Fran on today. We're all excited. I got a lot of questions about That's Incredible. Because as a kid growing up, I watched That's Incredible. I remember so many of the guy catching the bullet in the teeth and all this stuff. And of course, remember there was a little golfer that came on the show too that some people might recognize. What do you remember from those days that you really sit back and go, oh, that was awesome?
We had Tiger Woods on the show at 5 years old. We had Muhammad Ali when he was severely demented, and we had him on the show. We did have the guy that put the cup in his mouth, and the guy shot a .22 rifle and didn't kill him. It was one of the first reality shows, and John Davis and Kathleen Crosby and I hosted that show for 4 or 5 years. The ratings were great. It was entertaining, and I enjoyed it. I did it right after my football career was over, and but it had a time in itself, but it was a fun show to do, and it was very entertaining.
Well, I tell you what, I loved it, and you will always remember it fondly for so many of those great things. Fran Tarkington, the book's called Elderly Financial Abuse, The Crime of the 21st Century, and how you can go out there safe and secure. 10 essential steps for seniors to protect against financial abuse. It is vitally important, especially as people are getting older, on how you protect yourself going into the future. Thanks so much for spending time with us today. We look forward to talking again in the future.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Everybody's all excited. That's incredible. He's Hall of Famer. It's a pro football Hall of Famer. Before the Michael Vicks, before the Mahomes, there was Fran Tarkington running around doing all this stuff. That's incredible, though. That's incredible. That to me is incredible. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
The card in the cabinet at Action Sparks and Coin in Sparks, Nevada was of Babe Ruth, but it was only marked at $8 plus 80% off. So cheap, Dale Ball was told, because the store thought it was fake. So he bought it. Then he started researching it, and he took it to Chris Gaboyan at Basis Loaded Collectibles in Fresno, who said maybe there's something there.
If you get it authenticated, gosh, $20,000, $30,000 is not out of the question.
Ball thinks, though, it could be an even rarer version of the card. And if that's the case,
bidding starts at $2 million.
He says if it does pan out,
I'm going back to the store when it's all over and give them a proper payment for it.
Yeah, sounds like you're going to cry. $2 million. That'd be nice, right? And you start thinking to yourself, okay, what's a proper payment? Because you want to be cool. Like, you bought it there. You spent, what, $4 with tax? Right? $4.50 with tax? What's a proper payment if you sell it for $2 million and you want to be cool? You draw them off $100,000? $100,000? That'd be good? I think so. I think it'd be good. Right? Because they're not expecting anything. So you dropping them off $100,000, you're not going to drop them off $1 million, although that'd be like a solid move, but you're not going to do that. So, but maybe you do. Maybe you do. Maybe you're that kind of guy, right? Maybe you're that kind of guy. You're going to go drop off that kind of coin. I don't know you. but it's possible. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. That's a nice refrigerator you have there. Why don't you swipe left or right?
Samsung wants to offer you a more authentic way to date. And all you've got to do is open up your fridge. Welcome to Refrigerating, an app from Samsung that works with the Family Hub refrigerator to take a picture of the inside of your fridge and match you with your forever dinner date. You swipe left or right, depending on how strongly you feel about kale. They say you are what you eat, so what do the contents of your fridge say about you? Maybe you're health conscious or aren't home much. Is that an open can of cat food?
Yeah, well, you look at, I was thinking today, well, what do I have in my fridge? My fridge, I've got an open can of dog food because Doodle only gets half dog food, but I got a lot of what's all that ground turkey for? I got big lizards that eat ground turkey. But the one thing you don't have to worry about is this fridge costs like $4,000. So for $4,000, at least the person's doing okay, and they're probably not a renter. But I don't know if you're looking in there and finding out, because then people are going to do the same thing with photos. They're going to start putting like fake food inside of there just so people think you're health conscious, only to realize, hey, your refrigerator says you are a lot thinner than that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Will they or won't they get Trump? They're doing all they can to get their tax returns, and Nancy knows why, because America wants it.
They want to know the truth. They want to know the facts. And he has nothing to hide.
Yeah, they want those tax returns. We'll see. They're coming hard for him. The investigations are going to begin, and let the investigations go. I just think at some point in time, it stops being we're trying to find out the truth, and it's we're trying to destroy. And we'll see how far they go and if they're able to get them. And my money, if you will, is on the fact that I think if they find anything out with the tax returns that he doesn't have, A, they're not going to understand a lot of them, and B, he doesn't have all the money he says he has. Oh, he's got money, just not the kind of money that a lot of people think he has and that he said he's had. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Your best night's sleep, it's right in front of you. That's because you're going to get yourself a MyPillow. It's incredible. I have my Go Anywhere pillow. Last night I was on my MyPillow like mattress topper, and I had my MyPillow. I was out like a light. I slept amazing. Tonight I'm in a hotel again. I've got my Go Anywhere pillow. It is incredible. Time for you to put your skepticism to the test. You've got nothing to lose right now. They've got a money-back guarantee till March 1st. You're going to get 4 pillows, 2 premium pillows, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, and free shipping. Sign you up. How do you do it? It's simple and easy. 800-944-4975 or go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. That's mypillow.com. Promo code is Benson or 800-944-4975. Again, you can visit mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson. It's 4 pillows, 2 premium, 2 Go Anywhere pillows, half the price, free shipping. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The problem is so big, it's hard to imagine. But America and the world's top scientists widely agree that we are running out of time, that mankind has as little as a dozen years to stop burning so much carbon and save life on Earth as we know it. But you'd never know it listening to the State of the Union.
The United States is now the #1 producer of oil and natural gas anywhere in the world.
We can do so much more.
Yes. The Green New Deal. The Green New Deal. It's green, it's new, it's a deal. And it's here. And AOC is championing the Green New Deal. We're going to change the world, and climate change is where we're going there. But it's not just climate change, kids. It's not. It's social justice. It's equality. It's many things. And we're going to do it all through wind and solar and turbines and things like that. Electric cars, right? Trains, getting rid of airplanes. We're going to take electric trains, and wherever you are, that's it. You're not going to have a chance to go anywhere else unless you have a sailboat. It's got to be a green sailboat. It's biodegradable. So they're rolling the Green New Deal out today, is Ocasio-Cortez. Let me tell you something. The passion she has is great, right? And I've said that her and Trump, they fight the same battle in a lot of ways. Man, and she's got an army of people that if you dare say anything or challenge her, they come for you. Right? Much like a lot of Trump supporters, they come. They do a lot of the same. And she's not afraid to hit back. She's a fighter for sure. And she's ready to roll on this thing big time.
We're here to say that small, incremental policy solutions are not enough.
No. Small is not enough. They got to go big. But going big or go home, and it won't be this home because it'll all be gone in 12 years. It won't be, right? And they're not saying that we're going to be gone in 12 years. They're saying once we get to that point, it's like an airplane gets to a point where its fuel capacity, after a while, it's shrunk down to the point where they can't turn around and go back. It's the same thing. We'll have passed the point of no return, and the earth will be doomed. But it's expensive. It's very expensive.
The next few days, 2 Democrats will finally reveal what they say is a massive plan to not only create jobs in the United States, but to help start saving the planet. They call it the Green New Deal, a nod to FDR's New Deal during the Great Depression. The progressive left is lining up to back it, and they want their presidential hopefuls to fall in line. Freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez helped write the bill.
Yes, she did. So here comes the Green New Deal. They're going to roll it on out, right? So here they are rolling this thing out. It's expensive, though, right? This is the thing for something like this. So you've got 2 people that roll this out. They're going to talk about, what's going to do to our children. I continue to say this over and over again. The left misses the ball here over and over again on the way they attack this, because they attack people who don't buy into everything that they're selling, right? And there's reasons to question some of the reports that are out there when the numbers get fudged and the numbers get moved around and, we didn't do this correctly, or maybe this. When that happens, there's reasons to be skeptical, right? There's reasons to be skeptical. Just as the left is skeptical of the right when they say, look, yeah, you guys might have indicted some of these people around Trump, but none of it has to do with collusion or any of this other stuff. There's reason to be skeptical. Yeah, okay. There's reasons to have skepticism. I get that. But you're missing the point. First of all, I want to live in a better environment. Don't you? Cleaner air is great. Cleaner water is great. It's beautiful, right? It is. So we should definitely take care of what we have. 110%. Do we do it at the cost of destroying potentially the economy and running taxes up through the roof? No. We find a way of making it profitable, which will make people smile, which will make people want to get on board. The thing that the right has a problem with, which I have a problem with, is the want to continue to give more power to government. That's the issue a lot of people have. And then there's the expense.
As you know, Congresswoman, one reason that people who are politically conservative are skeptical of efforts to combat climate change is that it sounds to them like it requires massive government intervention, which they just don't like. Are you prepared to put on the table that, yes, actually, they're right. What this requires is massive government intervention?
It does. Yeah, I have no problem saying that. Why? Because we have tried their approach for 40 years.
That's it. Why? Right? 40 years. 40 years they've tried this. Look, big oil, a lot of these places have screwed up places. Absolutely. In their want to bring something out and they've destroyed stuff. And at the time, at first, when they first started, they probably didn't have any idea what was going to happen. Right? It's like people who smoked for years had no idea that was going to be the outcome. But the money was so big, and the addiction to that money was so big, they continue to do it. Have they gotten better over the years? Yes. Did they start to see the writing on the wall? Absolutely. Is it too late for some people out there? Yeah. But the reality is I don't want to give control to government. Because if you think you can't trust business, you sure in the hell can't trust government to do the right thing. I think we all know that. Because too many other people, like businesses, are tugging at their strings to get their portion of everything.
The forces of the market are going to force us to innovate, except a corporation can dump pollution in the river and they don't have to pay for it, and taxpayers have to pay for cleaning up our air, cleaning up our water, and saving the planet. And so we've already been paying the costs, except we have not been getting any of the benefit. And so what we're here to say is that government is not just for cleaning up other people's mess, but it's also for building solutions in places where the private sector will not.
But the private sector does bring solutions. But then we start talking about crony capitalism, and there's the issue. It's the money thing. Follow the money. And where does money go? Well, it wants some power. And what does power want? Power wants some money. Put them together, and you don't have the free market solutions that a lot of people think. It's frustrating. I want a better environment. I want a cleaner environment. I like looking at pretty things. I like going outside and taking a deep breath and not coughing. I grew up in Los Angeles. I know what brown air looks like. I know what smog alerts are. And we have gotten better. And here's the other thing. The hubris of us as human beings to think that in some way, shape, or form, the planet can't heal itself and or at any time eliminate us whenever it wants to is also foolish. It feels a little playing God-esque at times. We can do better for sure, and there are ways of going about doing it, but fighting each other isn't going to help. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Here's a question. What's happening in Virginia, and where do they go? So you got a governor, right, who is still in power, but a mess.
It is something that is painful for most of us to see, to hear about, and to think about. And it is, for that reason, deeply troubling that anyone in the 20th or the 21st century would engage in that kind of behavior, and it should be taken very seriously.
That's Kamala Harris right there talking about the blackface that the governor wore back in the day, although he's still disputing that, didn't apologize, disputing it, the whole 9 yards. Then you had his AG saying, hey, you need to go. Next thing you know, the AG said, oh, by the way, I went as Curtis Blow as a party paying homage, and I did blackface as well. And then, right, you've got the lieutenant governor facing a big backlash from a lot of people over the way that things are going with him based on an encounter that took place as a woman in 2004. And was it sexual assault? People are asking the question, man, you guys sure hammered Kavanaugh, but you're not going after this guy the way you did. And isn't she supposed to be believed in the whole 9 yards? And I said, it's the Tour de France of politics. Because you ever watch the Tour de France, whoever wins it, if you're like in sixth place, you stick around. Because you never know if the first five people are going to be disqualified. And the fourth person in line here in Virginia, I think, is on the other team, the Republicans. And I think he's only there because they flipped the coin and said, hey, you're going to do this gig here. So what do you think? How about apples that are those apples? Congratulations. It's a mess. It's a mess. It really is. And it's not getting, and this governor is digging in big time. Now, I said the other day, and I continue to say so, actions speak louder than the words. It's 35 years ago. And we look at it with our sensibilities. And on top of that, right, I look for what are the other actions? Because I haven't heard a rush to the microphones from people of color saying this guy is an awful, horrible human being and he's been nothing but racist. In fact, I've heard several people who've come out in his defense. So it's really interesting, but it is a mess right there. And can he actually, govern is the biggest question. Even if he can survive somewhat the scandal, will anybody work with him?
And I continue to stand with those of my colleagues in the Virginia congressional delegation, as well as the two senators from Virginia who have made it clear that the governor has lost the capacity to really bring the Commonwealth of Virginia together and to move the state forward, given the divisiveness that is now unfortunately connected to him. Therefore, I think that the best thing to do for the Commonwealth, the best thing to do for the country would be for the governor to resign, do the right thing, and to allow us to all come together.
Yeah, that's Hakeem Jeffries, congressman. But what do you do, right? Because you got your AG, blackface, right? You've got, and I don't know if he's racist or not. He went as Curtis Blow. I thought that cool that you dug Curtis Blow, but looking at again from our sensibilities, then you've got your lieutenant governor who would be second in line facing serious allegations from a woman who, again, seems to be kind of under fire. Why did you bring it up now? The whole 9 yards. And you're sitting there watching, the left eat their own. But you can't stand on the moral high ground if you're not going to enforce. You can't yell racism and demand that people be fired and demand that people resign if you don't do it to your own. Interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Speaking of environment, speaking of doing good things, how about eating organic in a way that you've never thought about with ButcherBox? How about that? Clean eating from ButcherBox is incredible, right? Free range from the earth and delicious. Delivered right to your door. Guaranteed to be humanely raised, no antibiotics, no hormones ever. Grass-fed, grass-finished. Their chickens are just, the chicken breasts are just incredible. I mean, just huge. Double D's. That's how big they are. Heritage pork. I had pork last night. Oh, my goodness me. The pork last night. I had pork last night. It was so amazing. We smoked it over the weekend. Threw a little bit of the barbecue sauce on it. It was so delicious. Oh, my goodness. And they got salmon. Bristol Bay, Alaska. It's incredible what they have. And it's less than $6 a meal. It's a month worth of meat, comes straight to you. And what they're doing right now for my listeners, that you guys out there, is incredible. Ladies, you're looking to get your guy a little something, something. How about get your guy a little something, something, and you a little something, something, and get them a subscription to ButcherBox. This is what they're doing for you right now. The most tender premium cuts of beef is their fillets. They're going to throw in 2 of those. They're going to give you free bacon and $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Chad. That's more than a $50 value right there, all in your first box. Don't miss it. Jump at this right now. Butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
It may be the new norm in this age of security breaches.
I think you should keep your credit frozen at all times.
Ted Rossman with creditcards.com says keep it frozen except for this.
What you want to do every time you're legitimately applying for a new credit card or mortgage or auto loan or something like that is to lift the credit for you.
He says it's one thing that you might not have thought of doing, which can significantly prevent identity theft.
A credit freeze is going to prevent new credit from being opened in your name. That includes you.
Daria Albinger, ABC News.
Yeah, you know what? It's not a bad thing to do to freeze your credit in this day and age, and to help credit too. There's something else out there. Experian Boost is new, so consumers can use Experian Boost, and it's a new platform they've set up. And I found this to be really interesting. I was reading this last night. It takes about 5 minutes, and what happens is you allow Experian to look into your online banking. So to look at what the money you have in there, do you have anything in savings? But then it looks at your utility, cable, TV, phone payments for the last 24 months, and then instantaneously, literally instantaneously, you'll get a boost if you've maintained those things to your credit score. Big time. And for a lot of people out there, especially if you're looking to buy houses and things like that, having Because a lot of people aren't getting credit cards like they used to. Some people have maxed them out. It's another way to boost your credit score. And look, credit is, nobody is paying cash for a house anymore in like the olden days, right? Nobody's doing that. Nobody's buying, my mom's house. Like, she couldn't even afford to live in the house that she owns now, right? She sold it. She had a lot of people I know, even people that are somewhat successful, had to borrow money from their family just to get in, and maybe the credit scores weren't good enough, or they didn't have enough credit. And this is a way of boosting that. For me, I have one credit card. I don't have any credit. I don't want credit cards. I don't want any of that. I try to pay with cash for as much as anything, but it's vitally important. Credit is an important thing to have as a just in case situation. And if you can do that now and boost your credit for them going in and looking at your bank account, see, do you have any savings? Have you made all of your utility payments and stuff like that? And they'll ignore some of the negative stuff on there if they see it. I think that's a good way to boost. It's a good thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Investigations are beginning. What will they find when it comes to Trump and Juul? What have they done to get people addicted to their stuff? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
President Trump says House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff has no reason to look into his finances.
He has no basis to do that. He's just a political hack who's trying to build a name for himself.
But Democratic Chairman Schiff says he will investigate Donald Trump's finances to see if they guided his political moves.
They're coming. 5 investigations kicking off today. They're coming big time. And by the way, these 5 have nothing to do with anything when it comes to Mueller or collusion. This is all financial.
So we're very concerned. We're very concerned in 2 respects. Number one, that the probes continue as they should without interference, that the public learn the information and Congress learn the information, because we may have to take action or not. We're not going to rely on those criminal investigations, because our responsibility is to do general oversight and get our own information and our own testimony.
That's what they're going to do. Big time. And they're going to come hard. And they're going to spend the next 2 years, even if Mueller, nothing pans out, right? Nothing pans out other than you got convictions for people who did some things pre-Trump, and you got some convictions for people who associated with Trump, and maybe they lied to Congress about some of the associations with Trump and some of the things that they did, but nothing points to collusion where they conspired with Trump and the Russians and the whole 9 yards. They're still going to come. And they're coming. They want his tax returns, first and foremost, because that's where they think everything lies.
I think overwhelmingly the public wants to see the president's tax returns. They want to know the truth. They want to know the facts. And he has nothing to hide.
I don't know if he has anything to hide. Maybe he's not as rich. Maybe the embarrassment is he's got $800 million and he doesn't have $3 billion. Maybe he's got $6 billion. Maybe he's got $100 million. Maybe that's the embarrassment. They're like, oh, he didn't really have all the things. Maybe that's it. Have you thought of that? It's always a possibility, right? But I think in there they think there's a smoking gun, that they're going to find that massive loans were made by the Russians and some oligarchies, which they may find. They may find that he is associated with, at times, people of questionable characters. When you work in a place like New York City and you build in a place like New York City, there is a chance that the questionable character you may have rubbed elbows with, who may have helped you out with loans here and there and done some things, that is also a possibility. But then you get to the point where, are you going to weaponize all of these committees and all of these investigations? And what does that do in the future for the next president whether he's on the right or the left, that somebody doesn't like, and they decide, hey, maybe we need to open up an investigation into everything. Right? It's okay to have an investigation, especially if you think that there's been something. But if you weaponize these things to the point where this is all you're going to be doing, then I think it's fair to start asking yourself questions about, well, wait a minute here. Are we getting to the point where this is now just about getting him at all costs, no matter what it is? And we'll go back to his preschool days if we have to find something that we could say, ha-ha!
Where is the line between appropriate oversight and presidential harassment?
What the president sees as presidential harassment is really the end of presidential immunity, because for 2 years he had Republicans who wouldn't hold him accountable. But we want to make sure the president of the United States is not financially compromised, and there's deep evidence to suggest that he governs by transactional value, meaning that he's drawn us so close to the Saudis and the Russians because he has benefited financially from them in the past. And there's good reason to look at investments that they've made in him, investments he's made in them, and to see if we need to interdict to protect America's national security.
Yeah. Now, here's a question, though. Right? Let's just say they look and they say, 7 years ago, Trump did business in some of these countries, and he took loans from banks or something like that. But this was years before he was running. Is that a crime? Right? I mean, when let's say Howard Schultz becomes president and the left's pissed off because it wasn't them. And at the time, he put Starbucks in questionable places, maybe. Right? I believe there's a Starbucks everywhere. Are we going to then go, well, wait a minute here? I mean, you see where I'm going? Now, if he's done something, yeah, we'd like to know about it. But how far do you say we go? Do we go as far as we possibly can to get something on him? Or do we say, look, we're going to do an investigation, but we're not going to make this all that we do, and all that we're about is just destroying him? I think for some people on the left, that's what it's going to become. I think other more common sense people say, yeah, I don't know if this is, people are going to start to read into this and start saying to themselves, hey, you know what? You're getting to the point where now people are saying, you're going too far. Even people within your own party. Will that happen? I don't know. But Trump, welcome. This is what you've got coming for the foreseeable future. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Jewel. Remember Jewel? Remember the e-cigarettes? Right, just 2 weeks ago, they came out with a new thing that said, hey, e-cigarettes do help people to stop smoking. But wait a minute here. Is there more than meets the eye?
That's 15-year-old Philip Furman speaking at a New York City Council health meeting.
When I started hearing all the facts and everything bad about it, it was already too late. I was already hooked onto it.
Philip's story has become shockingly familiar. You've probably heard of Juul by now. It's been around since June of 2015. And millions of high school students have already Juuled or vaped using the device. What you may not know, however, is how Juul's high 5% nicotine pods have caused a so-called nicotine arms race across the vaping industry.
Ooh, an arms race. Yeah. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Because the whole point is it's supposed to be less addictive, less nicotine. All of these things are supposed to happen. But hold on a second here.
When Juul came on the market 3.5 years ago, the vapor market was mostly 1% and 2% nicotine. It's now 6-7% nicotine. Now, this tiny Juul cartridge delivers to a person's body the same amount of nicotine as this entire box of Camels of 20 cigarettes.
Whoa. Whoa there. It's incrementally going up because you need to win, right? You need to win. Juul's like, oh, yeah, if we could say we can help people, that's great, but we got to get them addicted so we can help them. And that's where this comes in. And a lot of people, that's what they think. It's just better, right? And we don't know the results of these things for years. I remember, I always go back to FinFin. I think that's what it was called, or FenFen. It was that things can help you lose weight, and it's going to be great. And then everybody started taking it. And then all of a sudden, I think people's kidneys started failing. And it was like, whoa. This is one of those things where, to get a little bit more to get a little bit more of addiction, you got to amp it just a smidge.
Stanford professor Dr. Robert Jackler makes his case in a study.
When Juul came out with very high nicotine electronic cigarettes, it triggered a nicotine arms race amongst competitive companies seeking to emulate the success of Juul.
While federal law prohibits selling these products to minors, Jackler worries that vaping companies like Juul are using new technology to pack more nicotine into their products.
There's no regulation of the amount of nicotine in electronic cigarettes.
That's scary. And remember, the teens and kids are getting these things. Absolutely, they're getting these things. And you know that, and I know that. And I can't look. Here's the problem. Companies market, but not market at them. Meaning they want new customers. They know they can't directly market at them, but they still somewhat market at them because they need to reload. And kids know they're not supposed to do it, yet they still go out and do it because for whatever reason, they think it looks cool and hip. Now, in saying all of that, smoking is down tremendously over the last several decades. That's huge. That's a big, big thing. Doesn't mean, though, people aren't looking for something that they might think could be cool, could be this, could be that, and this is that thing they're heading to, only to find out that turns around and bites them in the butt. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. And I've seen my aunt, she does Juul. I think that's what it is. She does Juul. And and she gave up smoking for a long time. And I don't, it's this little thing. And then the e-cigarettes, I don't get into it. I don't understand. I've never had a smoke in my life, never had a drink in my life. I never wanted to do any of those things. But a lot of people too, they do them and they just think that somehow it's this, it's the magic elixir of, well, this will help me quit smoking. And then when you hear the fact that slowly but surely they're ramping it up, it's not helping you do anything. That's adding to what's going on. But you don't get that because they want you to like their product. They want you to use their product. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Somebody just texted in and said, they haven't found anything on Trump in 2 years, these investigations. And what about the Bushes, the Obamas, the Clintons? They've investigated them too. Remember, Benghazi was on for a long time. Still think there's some investigations going on out there. Same thing with, trying to find the emails and stuff like that. It's not like they don't, but you see how this can become a nightmare going forward? And it doesn't mean we don't investigate things, because you absolutely must. But when you turn these investigations, right? When you turn these situations into political retribution where we're coming at you at all cost, that's the fear of what's going to happen. Is that every president from here on out is going to face, they're going to dig into every single thing they can find out about a person, to the point of, we're going to go back to when you were a toddler. Did you utter something between Goo Goo and Gaga? Because if you look hard enough, right, and you squint your eyes and you look at the sun and you twist your head a little bit, you might find something and you might read into something, and that's all you need to do nowadays. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Guys, countdown is on. What are we, a week away from Valentine's Day? Now, some of you may have done the right thing. Others, like most of us, have not. Luckily, 1-800-Flowers.com is here to the rescue. They are. When you order early, like right now, 18 red roses, $29.99, or upgrade to 24 roses for $10 more. So you're going to get 18 red roses, $29.99. You're a winner. Or you can upgrade for $10 more, 24 red roses. Double, triple, quadruple winner. Yeah, big time. Huge. Don't be an idiot. Little things go a long way. You know that, and I know that. Valentine's Day is a day that the ladies love. They do. They love it. They absolutely love it. And you want to make sure you shine. You want to win Valentine's Day like never before. That's where 1-800-Flowers comes in. Bouquet prices, they're going to be going up soon. Take advantage of it right now. Do it early. Don't do it late, because when you do it late, you're going to pay a premium for that, right? They're picked at the peak, these roses. They're shipped overnight. They ensure freshness and amazement. You will win Valentine's Day. They are my Rose Authority. They will be yours. 1-800-Flowers.com. Simple and easy. 18 red roses for $29.99. Upgrade to 24 red roses for $10 more. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Click on the radio icon. Enter code Benson. That's 1-800-Flowers.com. Code Benson. Hurry, though. Offer ends tomorrow. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker anytime of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
The jury began its fourth day of deliberations studying the testimony of government witnesses the panel had asked to hear again. Joaquin Guzman may be best known for evading capture in Mexico and escaping from Mexican jails, and he has been under indictment in this country for several years. However obvious the outcome may seem, defense attorney William Purpura said he's happy the jury's taking its time.
It means they're looking at all the evidence, which they should do. They're doing their job. We're pleased they're doing their job.
If convicted of leading a violent cartel that imported at least 200 tons of cocaine into the U.S., El Chapo faces a possible life sentence.
You think the jury's just like, look, we're probably going to have to convict him, and then he's going to somehow get word and find out who we are, and we're screwed. So we'll just drag this thing on forever. So we don't have to make a decision. We know what we want to say, but we don't want to say it. How do you plead? He pled not guilty. What say you, jury? I don't want to tell you. I wouldn't. That's something I would not want to be a part of. I just would not want to be a part of at all. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. People are tweeting in about the whole governor thing in Virginia and then the AG and all the stuff that's going on there. Those people, they should resign. They should be fired. And I'm like, well, because of what? Well, because of those pictures, and it was horrible. Yeah. Looking at it on today's sensibility, it was. And back then, it probably did hurt some people's feelings. And for other people, they didn't care. And they moved on with it. Do I think any of these people are racist? And that's where we go with this. Everything is a racist thing nowadays. And what the left has done is they've weaponized that to the point now where they're eating their own. Right? And I said, well, let's say he had some racist tendencies back then. Let's just say that. 35 years on, do you think you can change? Because if you can't change your opinions, then isn't it fair to say that every Democrat who was once for marriage between a man and a woman and changed their stance because they become more woke also hasn't changed, and that they're still anti-LGBT? Oh, well, again, we're at a knee-jerk reaction to destroy and get rid of everybody and everything as fast as we possibly can. And I think we need to take a deep breath. And what ends up happening is, it's like the boy cried wolf. When you do it so much, people aren't going to take it serious anymore either. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Venezuela still having serious issues.
They were enraged by the decision by Maduro and those photos that are coming out of those container trucks blocking the bridge. One guy said it is a crime what he is doing. But for Maduro, he said accepting humanitarian aid would be a guise for the United States to carry out a military intervention. For Juan Guaido, the other guy who claims to be the legitimate president here, certainly he's gaining some popularity here as it's clear that he wants to accept humanitarian aid for the people like this behind me who are suffering the effects of the humanitarian crisis.
Oh, man. Maduro stopping aid coming in because he's just awful. He's just awful, awful, awful. Lindsey Graham is right. The Democratic presidency rolls through Venezuela. Enjoy it, kids. Enjoy it. It is ugly. That is socialism. When everybody talks about, well, what about Sweden, Norway? They'll tell you, we're not socialist. Stop it. We got some socialist things, but we're not. We're free market. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Here's your useless fact of the day. Interesting fact. Sumo Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima for work when the first A-bomb hit. Luckily, he made it home to Nagasaki just in time for the second A-bomb to hit. By the way, he lived to be 93. Have a good rest of your Thursday. We'll have some donuts tomorrow. It's Donut Friday. See you weekend. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.